it is 2020, and all of the plans, all of the things that we have assumed that we'd be doing, here in Big Sandy, for instance, we assumed, we'd be doing a banquet, going to prom. We assumed we'd go to school on a daily basis and learn stuff. I mean, if you're a kid, I would go to school every day and clean some stuff. We lots of things that we are not doing. And now we are sitting and we're stuck and we can't do anything that we're used to being able to do. And so Psalm 63 comes to mind for me. And we're going to look at it today because I think we will find in it, it was written by David, and I think we'll find in it encouragement for where to turn to in times of unrest, times of, as the psalm will describe it, times of being in a desert, a dry and weary place where we're just kind of stuck and we don't know what to do. And so I will read it and we will walk through it together. Hopefully you'll find encouragement from it. I hope you do. I really hope you do. Psalm 63 says, "O God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh faints for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water. So I have looked upon you in the sanctuary, beholding your power and glory. Because your steadfast love is better than life, my lips will praise you. So I will bless you as long as I live. In your name I will lift up my hands. My soul will be satisfied as with fat and rich food, and my mouth will praise you with joyful lips. When I remember you upon my bed and meditate on you in the watches of the night, for you have been my help, and in the shadow of your wings I will sing for joy. My soul clings to you, your right hand upholds me. But those who seek to destroy my life shall go down into the depths of the earth. They shall be given over to the power of the sword. They shall be a portion for jackals. But the king shall rejoice in God. All who swear by him shall exult, for the mouths of liars will be stopped." It's the word of the Lord there. And so I'm just gonna kind of walk through it. As an aside, though, a psalm is a book in the Bible. It's essentially a hymn book, a song book. It's full of poems. Poems that range from praise to lament. Praise being psalms that praise and worship and adore God, and they focus on different parts of his character and who he is, or laments. Lament is like being openly upset and angry at times about how life goes sometimes. And what I love about the Psalms is that they're open and honest. Like David, Solomon, and other writers have written these Psalms from their heart, and they're open, and they're honest, and they're real. It's not fake. It's not, oh, you got hurt, just, tighten your bootstraps, get up and try again. No, this is, I am hurting. I am mad. Why have you left me, God? Like, it's honest. It's real. That's why I love the Psalms, because sometimes I just need to be real. And so for this Psalm, we look at it and we can learn a few things about kind of what we should be doing during this time of quarantine, during this time of having to stay inside. And some of those rules here in Montana are being lifted, which is cool, but still, things are different. Things have changed, and so we now have an opportunity to reflect. And so the first couple verses, "O God, you are my God, earnestly I seek you." And so how he starts off by acknowledging that God is his God. And so he's saying, God, I am in relationship with you. I know you, you know me, and I seek you, and I seek you earnestly. Like, I need to talk to you. I need to come before you. My soul thirsts for you, and my flesh faints for you, as in a dry and weary land where there is no water. He's describing and acknowledging his situation. This is where he's at. He's in a dry and weary place. He's struggling and he doesn't know, like he needs to turn to the Lord because he's in this dry and weary place and he's confused and he's lost or whatever he's going through when he wrote this. He's either spiritually or physically actually in a desert. And he acknowledges his circumstances. He acknowledges that he is in a weary place. God, he is acknowledging his present circumstances, that he's struggling, that there's something going on that he needs help with. And instead of focusing on the problem, which is what so many of us do, he turns to God in prayer. He turns to God and goes to him. And this is what he does. This is the next part. He worships. He says, because your steadfast love is better than life, my lips will praise you. So I will bless you as long as I live. In your name I will lift up my hands. My soul will be satisfied as with fat and rich food, and my mouth will praise you with joyful lips. His lips will be joyous in worship of God. And so he, instead of reflecting on the bad stuff, or instead of reflecting on the fact that he's in the desert, he's reflecting on God's goodness. And so he points out one characteristic of God, God's love, God's steadfast love. And he says it's better than life. It's better than anything else he could have ever dreamed of. And so he worships God because of that. He says, I will bless you with my life. I will worship you. And then he says something crazy. He says, my soul will be satisfied as with fat and rich food. I love steak fajitas. They're delicious, especially if you use flank steak. It's rolled up and you grill it and then you slice it up real thin, put some salsa on it, a little cheese, maybe some sour cream. Boom, so good. That's a satisfying meal. And so David is describing being satisfied in God as if he's enjoying a delicious, fatty meal. And so this worship brings about satisfaction in his very soul. And so instead of focusing on the circumstance, he's worshiping God. And that's something we can learn from him. We need to do that. We need to worship God instead of focusing on the desert that we're in. And so David goes on and he worships God. He says he acknowledges that he's satisfied. And then he goes on for another reason why he's satisfied, or another reason to worship God. He says, when I remember you upon my bed and meditate you on the watches of the night, for you have been my help, and in the shadow of your wings I will sing for joy. My soul clings to you, and your right hand upholds me. And so for this next part, he goes, you are my help, God. I can go to you, and you will help me. You are a personal God who is involved in my life, and you know what I'm going through. It's a personal God we worship. And so David praises God for that intimacy that he enjoys. Moving on, he says, on to the next part. So he worships God after longing for God. And then he acknowledges that God cares for him. And then he goes on and he talks about victory. And he kind of describes, because he's a warrior, so he's going to describe it in a warlike language. And he goes, but those who seek to destroy my life shall go down into the depths of the earth, and they shall be given over to the power of the sword, and they shall be a portion for jackals. Man, some blunt language, but this is how they would have talked back then. And essentially what he's saying is my victory will be found in the Lord. He says, now I will get up and I will battle on, and I will trust that the Lord will bring me victory in this, or that he will bring about his will. And that ultimately my satisfaction, because my satisfaction is found in the Lord, I will rest in that, and I will get back up and press on in the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, whatever it was that David was going through at that time. And so he finds his victory in God rather than in himself and in his own abilities, which we are prone to do, right? Especially like if you're used to being in school and doing these certain things, and you come to depend on that. And when you lose that, what do? And if your whole life is in that, then what now? What do you put your hope in now? And so the encouragement is to look to God and put your hope in him. The psalm teaches us that God is a personal God and wants an intimate relationship with you. And so the beauty of the gospel is that we, without Christ, aren't able to have that relationship with God because we are naturally his enemies because of sin. But Jesus comes and takes away that sin so that we can be put back in a right relationship with him. And so if that's the truth, then we are, like, if you're a Christian, you are in that relationship with him now. And we can acknowledge and come to God with our struggles. I'm in a dry and weary land, Lord. I'm struggling. I don't understand why you're doing this. See, like, that's what I love about the Psalms. It's honest, and you can talk to God about that, and he can handle it. And you can go to him, and you can run to him, and then you can worship him, and in that you will be satisfied. We're all trying to be satisfied by something. We are all trying to find our self-worth and satisfaction, either in ourselves, our good works, our good looks, our abilities, our gifts, whatever. And in the end, it's not going to work. But what is going to bring satisfaction is God and worshiping him, because that's what we were actually created to do. We were created to use all those good things that he gave us, those gifts, those abilities, those talents, those whatever, to glorify and worship him. And so we do that in him, and then we are satisfied, like truly, really satisfied, because we were actually made to do that. And then we get back up, right? It's as if David had, like, if I was a kid and I'd fallen off my bike, instead of sitting there going, I can't believe I fell again. Gosh, this always happens, and I always fall, and I'm never gonna yeah, right? And you start moping. Instead of doing that, pray to God, get back up, and try again. And that's what David does. He gets back up. And he goes and seeks victory, not trusting in his own abilities, but trusting in God. And so this is kind of the encouragement that I have for you, youthens, today. Put your hope in the Lord. Go to him. He is a personal God who wants to talk to you, who wants to be a part of your life. And know that ultimate satisfaction will only be found in him. Anything else is cheap. And anything else is good, but only good if it points to and leads you to the maker of that good, and that's God. God made everything, and you will only be satisfied in him. So I just pray that this is an encouragement for you guys, and I pray that God will use this in some way